Woo! All right, butter. The Ora Podcast is live, man. Ciao, ciao, ciao. All right, man. We got a big few weeks ahead of us. We got some pretty cool guests. We got the flyest Māori in the world, Jay Harrison. He's coming on for us this week, but it'll be for you guys the next week. He's the CEO of the Edison Clinic. They're opening up more clinics in Auckland and I think in Christchurch possibly. So they're like state-of-the-art health gurus pretty much, the top of the line. After that, we got Hannah, the modern girl. She's more of a health and wellness kind of blogger, I suppose. Hannah's awesome. She's a real down-to-earth chick. I've known her for about, 10 years now. Haven't seen her in a few years, so it'd be cool to catch up with her and see what she's doing. We also got Dove Phillips. He's an anxiety specialist based in Auckland. An amazing guy with heaps of different, techniques, I suppose, of how to look at anxiety and depression and things like that. And he's got a real completely different approach, which will be very interesting. And he's helped me get through a lot of stuff. So that's why we're bringing him on as on proof of the pudding. And we've also got Diana McGregor coming on also after that, and she is head of Māori nursing in 2 DHBs in Auckland, and she's going to give us a bit more of a understanding of Māori health and what's happening, because we don't really hear much from the government, I suppose, about we know that Māori health is a priority, but we don't actually know where the improvements are actually happening, So it'll be quite a good understanding, especially from New Zealanders. It might be a bit boring for people overseas, but for Kiwi-based, it'll be great. So Dyls, he is the main bodyweight trainer. Hence the name Zoo. He's Zoo from the outside kind of point of view. It kind of looks like pornographic movements with your clothes on by yourself. So, Dyls, give us a rundown of what Zoo movements really are. Not that we're Zoo certified or anything, but Dylsy has he's done all his calls through then, and he's doing also extra, I suppose, level 4 and level 5A at AUT, just to top off all his body weight kind of stuff. So, give us a rundown of the real essence behind those sexual movements.
Cheers, Zoo was created by a guy called Nathan Halberg from Australia, and he basically the background story from Zoo. He basically he had a bit of a rivalry with his brother, and his brother was a gymnast, and they were always competing each other and always wanting to outperform each other. And so Nathan set out to try and create, like a workouts and, different regimes and different exercises that were going to help him with his full range of motion. He found heaps of like weak spots in his movement. And
what were they?
Just his range was his weak spots, and so he set out to create new exercises that moved through those ranges and helped them gain better mobility. So that's sort of the background behind it, and then from there he sort of went out and he shared. It's being used in like elite sports, armed forces, tactical units, and all that sort of stuff around the world. Really good for confined spaces, without no equipment needed, obviously, bodyweight exercises. But so
like level 4 lockdown, eh?
Yeah,
perfect.
Great for this environment that we're in at the moment. And the thing I love about Zoo is that anybody can do it. It may look hard, and but there's a point for everyone to start off at. There's lots of regressions and there's lots of
there's
lots of different, exercises.
Easy exercises that you can bring into it, make it easier for beginners.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. And also, flip side of that, you can make them harder for advanced, for people who are really fit.
Bro. Yeah, mate. We've seen the moves.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, holy shit, can Dylsy move, eh?
Yeah. So, yeah, I love zoo, and my training started off pretty much body weight exercises back, 10, 15 years ago, and it was just push-ups, all the conventional movements, and pull-ups and dips, and
right.
So
we all kind of start there a bit, eh?
Yeah.
Everyone kind of.
Yeah. So for me to find something that can, advance my my skills in body weight movements, I throthed on it, eh?
Right.
Yeah. So.
Right.
I love to share it, and I love to do it. I love educating people on the exercises, and just to teach people that you don't need a gym, you don't need equipment, and you can pretty much just take the time and really whack out a good workout.
And that's it, eh, bro? It's kind of making, and that's what I think Ora is kind of all about, is I want to make it inclusive for as many people as possible, There's kind of, I don't know, some people... We kind of just have big shredded dudes who kind of lead the online kind of scene, of health and fitness. The majority of us aren't even like that,
Yeah.
So being able to have that kind of body weight regressions and simple, workouts that people can do that are bigger or unfit is mint, because that's what we are all about,
Yeah, man. A starting point for everyone, eh,
Yeah, right. Yeah. And the thing is that everyone, because it's scary. It's scary. Remember, like when you first walk in a gym?
Yeah.
And it's scary as shit, and like, am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? And and imagine that as you get older and or if you're unfit, if you're a bigger person, and when you go to the gym, it's all about weight, it's all about image, which is, I don't think it's too healthy,
Nah, man. Nah.
If we focus more on health and metabolic health and just getting people moving, because when you move, you feel good,
Yeah, bro.
It's simple. It's simple. Like it's and if you're feeling good, like you could be eating any diet you want, man. You could eat, if you feel mint on a vegan diet, eat vegan.
Yeah.
Gotta watch my swearing. Hey, George made me redo a whole 6-minute video this morning because I swore too much. But yeah, it's whatever works for you,
Yeah.
Because you eat quite a relative, balance. Well, we call balance, in our Ora program, but you eat relatively broad, eh? Your food groups.
Yeah. So my nutrition is pretty basic, really. I thrive on routine, and so if I eat the same thing for breakfast every day, then that's the first part of my day is pretty much sorted every day.
Yeah.
And it fuels me. It fuels me to perform everything that I want to do. And then I just sort of got to worry about lunch and dinner. But yeah, I do prefer a balanced diet. Then I've sort of got the mentality behind, the freedom of wanting to eat what I like to eat, but train hard, So yeah, that makes me feel good. And so I prefer to do it like that.
I'm exactly the same, bro. Yeah. I got into fitness because I was a little fat kid.
Yeah.
And a little overweight kid, and it was I used to get teased as shit, and it was pretty rough. But I figured out that if I exercised, I could eat, I could eat more food, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm loving this exercise. And I got leaner. I got, I was just running or doing, that's where I started, man. I was doing chin-ups and push-ups,
Yeah.
That's all I did. And that was probably like 12 years old, I think then. And then, but I got leaner and I got musclier, and that's where the passion started, I suppose.
Yeah.
For health and fitness, and then I realized I could eat more, but I was highly uneducated about the food aspect, which is a massive part of pretty much 70%, I suppose, of body composition. No?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And
so when you first started, when you're talking about, doing push-ups and that, did you?
Yeah.
I think I know a little bit about your history, but you did bodybuilding. Is that what you first started to do?
Yeah, right. So I played rugby league.
Yeah.
I didn't do any sports, man, because mum was, we lived with mum, dad was in Tauranga, and so throughout the weeks and stuff like that, it was just mum, So mum had, she
three
had
kids.
So yeah, three crazy kids, and she was, and so I'm pretty sure she works at most weekends, eh?
Yeah.
And so grandma was there to look after us. Yeah, bro, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so we just didn't have time. Like, when Dad was still in Auckland, he would still take the kids to bloody sport and shit like that. Yeah. But as soon as that kind of happened, it was, we didn't have anything. So I didn't even do sport, man, until I was like 16 years old. And so at 16, I played rugby league because I at 16, I went to one of the parties and I got on the piss with the first 15 boys. And
I want to be like them.
I rocked in with my little cruisers, man, my little 6-pack of cruisers.
Yeah.
And they made me scull all these beers. Sorry, this is a health podcast. But they made me scull all my cruisers before I was allowed in the party. And then they just hounded me to join. They were all going to leave the first 15 and second 15, and they were going to go join the rugby league club. And so they suckered me in, and then I played that for 2 years, and then I went to bodybuilding. Yeah. Bodybuilding, and that taught me a lot about. I was just angry, man. You just get because you're always sore all the time from doing big, heavy lifting workouts. Every muscle in your body bloody is sore.
Yeah.
You're eating. When you're young like that, you're not educated in the nutrition aspect, so you're having like brown rice and tuna every single meal.
Yeah.
And like life sucks. Life shit.
Yeah.
And then you get lean as and go on stage and shake your booty around.
Yeah.
And then went into powerlifting after that.
Yeah.
No, was it all CrossFit first? Yep. Love CrossFit, man. They kind of I know a lot of people hate them. Even reps, the exercise, registered exercise professionals used to bag on them hard out.
Yep.
But like CrossFit came from nothing, man, and they literally garage tactics, everything we know about exercise science, they proved wrong.
Yeah,
that's why I love them. And I know heaps of people got injured, but it's collateral damage, for the good cause.
Yeah,
And now you've got exercise science flipped on its head, and it kind of needed to because there's just too many old dinosaurs in there, running the show.
Because there's that Olympian you were telling me about,
Tia Toomey.
Yeah. So
she's a beast, bro. Yeah. Beast. She doesn't even look too big.
She got a CrossFit background.
She'll be 4-time, I think, or is she 5-time fittest woman on earth?
Yeah.
And she Aussie girl, and I'm pretty sure she got gold at the Commonwealth Games for Olympic lifting. So a power sport that she competed in. And so if no one kind of knows about training wise for power sports, it's you have like a strength phase, you have a power phase, and you might have a muscle building phase before that, depending on if you're in a weight division. Yeah. And so all those things you don't really necessarily train like your aerobic system or or you don't push your fitness that much, because all you're wanting is more muscle fibers, higher power output from your body in the right places, And so most of the girls that she would be competing against are doing that. Heaps of rest in between each set, building up, making sure they recover between each lift, and their lifts might be minimal, anywhere between 3 to max, probably 8, kind of repetitions.
Yeah.
None of this CrossFit stuff, running around, climbing up ropes, assault bike, Olympic lifting in between, And So she's the fittest, and she's been able to dominate a powerlifting sport, which is, if you look at the textbooks of it, it's impossible to do what she's done on textbook. But the textbooks are still so far behind, man.
Yeah,
like
man.
this woman is like a phenomenal athlete who's just, if you look at it on paper, like that should be impossible, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Because they're still teaching the same stuff that the science behind health and fitness hasn't had much growth.
Nah, man.
They've sort of stuck to the one size fits all, giving the information for the wider, public.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, man. And
like, everybody's different.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, man. But then it's just logic. Like, I kind of call it like tradie mind.
Yeah.
Like we need some more kind of tradie minds, like logic.
Yeah.
Like kind of builders,
Yeah.
Kind of, we need because, like that guy you said at university, who's a physio,
Yeah.
Who's like, static stretching that doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, that was quite.
And
that was an interesting.
that
was an interesting conversation because he came out. He was the first person to come. One of the tutors, first ones to come through and talk to us about flexibility. Yeah. And he pretty much told us, about 10 minutes into the lecture, he's telling us like static stretching is pretty much a waste of time.
So static stretching, for anyone that's listening, is just your normal stretch,
Yeah.
Just stretch and reach for your calf, or reach for the ground if you're stretching your hammies, or just holding it for a certain period of time.
So the stretches that we waste people's time with at the end of our workouts.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. So he's pretty much saying delayed DOMS, like delayed onset soreness. Is like,
which is just like your micro tears, and soreness of your muscles.
Yeah, afterwards. Yeah. So they're pretty much saying that there's new research that's come out that's saying that that static stretches doesn't help this at all, and that basically you can get everything that you need to, because what's the purpose for stretching? It's for it's for
improving range of motion.
Range of motion, yeah. So what they're saying in the study is that you can do that through dynamics movements. Resistance training and dynamic movements actually offers just as much, gains in your range of motion as doing your static stretches. So, anyway, he comes out, he's just like, waste of time. He's like, 15 years or something in physio. He's like, I don't give my clients static stretches anymore. Like, it's just a waste of time. And then like halfway through the course, another lecturer comes out, and then they're like, because they go off, the information that was written, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago. And they're telling us, you've got to program static stretches. So they're just contradicting each other. So like, and everyone was just confused. Everyone was just like, so what do we do? Do we let everyone? Do we tell people to static stretch, or do we? Yeah. So
But that's it.
But for me personally, when I stretch after I train, I know that the next day I feel less sore. And I feel like there's more mobility and flexibility in the muscle and mobility in the joint. Over if I didn't stretch, because if I don't stretch, then I definitely feel sore and more sore.
Yeah,
and more
exactly,
tight. Bro. So
and that's
just do what you know.
That's what I mean. Yeah, bro. And like the logic of it, is that it's kind of like here's some science, and then like, okay, like how does it apply practically, like that, like, and it's just our education system, bro. Like that's how people excel at high school, like if you're good at taking in information and then repeating it, like you get an A.
Just change the words around.
Like I know that when I was in my last year at university, what they did is they had this new concept called critical learning, and it was mint. Like, I was just like, oh my God, this is insane.
Because you can
like,
question. You
can question. Yeah. And they're like, okay, you guys now know how the body works. You know how this works. You know how that works. Now you tell me what we should make for guidelines. And I was like, oh, yeah, shit, yeah, this is easy.
Yeah.
How do you know? Like, oh, cool, it could be this, it could be that. And people that were book smart, who were like smashing the essays, smashing like, you know, all the book work and getting A+, and they just started going down, man.
Yeah.
They just were like, they didn't get fail, but they didn't get good marks because they were confused. They're like, what do you mean? That's the rules.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, but you know about the body. Or like for some of the teachers that were there, like, you know, and you know, you kind of all mixed together at AUT, you got teachers, nurses, everyone. And they were just like, it's stupid. Like, you know, that's NCA. You can't change NCA. And they're like, but you know about the brain of a kid now, and you know how they learn. Like, how would you change NCA? And they're like, that's just stupid. Why would you even ask that? Like, NCA is NCA. We have to teach it. And it's just like...
Yeah. I just think it's gospel. It's not gospel.
Yeah, man, because everything. And like, we should be thinking more like that. We should be thinking... I don't know, we should be thinking more critically about everything. You know, we get pumped shit down our throat from the media, and we believe it like straight away.
Yeah.
You know, if I saw on the news tonight, Dilla Sutra is big pimping over in Paris, you know, like I'll be like, oh yeah, how did Dyls get to Paris? You know, like he's big pimping in Paris. You know, you suck it into anything, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we got to watch out, like what we get in a textbook or what we get through the media sometimes isn't even, you know, the textbook guys, they're trying to sell a book. They're trying to sell a book to the university, and they try to make it as good as possible that they think. And a lot of those kind of scientists, you know, they will, even if they've been proven wrong, they will just hold their guns. You know, they'll just be like, no, mate, fat's bad for you. Like, you know, even though they know how the body works and the metabolic processes, oh, no, saturated fat's bad.
Yeah.
And then they'll come out. And even so, look, they've done that. They've done that with the American Heart Foundation, the dodgy guy that was on, he was on the cover of Time magazine. And he cherry-picked studies to make it look like fat was bad for you. And they kind of done it in like a kind of a, what do you call it? Shit, it slipped my mind end of the day. But like kind of those bigger kind of studies of questionnaires.
Yeah.
What do you call them? Bad of me. But yeah, and so they've kind of like questionnaire it. And so what they did is like left off groups of people that were like the Inuits and stuff that ate like seals and shit. Like 90% of their diet was like meat and fat, you know?
Yeah.
And in a few European countries, and they just left them off. And then they just did the Australia, New Zealand kind of thing, and got cultures that were mixing refined carbohydrates with fat, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a bad mix, you know.
Yeah.
It's a high calorie diet with a high carbohydrate. So you're getting, and they're wondering why and so that was their thing for cardiovascular disease, you know.
Yeah, right.
So but look, they've proven that wrong. And have they changed anything?
No.
That's how stupid it is, bro. That's how stupid the system is, eh?
Yeah. So tell us about your diet, bro. What's your preferred? You're on the carnivore diet or you're meat-based?
Yeah, bro.
Meat-based?
So on the carnivore, so we're pretty much I eat majority meat. Probably like 90% of my diet's meat, just red meat usually. The wifey tries to slip veggies in on certain meals if she's cooking lunch and things like that.
Yeah.
And she cooks up like a mean feed, so I feel real shit if I don't eat it.
Yeah.
You know you got
to eat it, bro.
Yeah, bro. It's like some wicked lunch meal that I get. I'm like, oh, I've got to do it, man.
Yeah.
Tastes good though. But so I eat majority meat. I've found that for me, it's a bit more. I'm more metabolically flexible. And what I mean by that is, so I loved ketogenic diets. When I was halfway through my university, like 11 years ago, I got into ketogenic diets in the second year of my university because because I learned about the body, and then they taught me how to prescribe, which was whole grains and zero, like very little fat. Like it was thinking back then, it was like 10% of your diet should be fat, majority at 50% whole grains, and the rest be fruit and veggies or something like that.
Yeah.
When I've just learnt, when they taught me how the body works and how fat is processed and how you can utilize it to benefit your body and how important it is for certain hormones in your body, and then they told us to take it all out. And so that didn't make sense to me. And so I was fascinated about, I started researching, and obviously you get like a lot of the ketogenic diets come up first because they're the most researched kind of low carbohydrate or any kind of other than the norm. Beside, that you've got kind of like the norm balanced kind of diets of grains and that they pump down everyone. Then you've kind of probably got a vegetarian approach, but they're slowly getting more material on that. But other than that, ketogenic is pretty much the second diet that is like the next big thing that's been researched and actually has a lot of science behind it and shitloads for the past 100 years plus. And so I got into that, and you feel amazing, but this is when I was getting into CrossFit,
Yeah.
So eating not enough carbohydrates, you felt great on the ketogenic diet. So anyone that doesn't know what a ketogenic diet is, a lot of people probably already know, but your body as it works, you predominantly use glucose, which is your carbohydrate source. You break down carbohydrate into glucose, and that's your main source of energy. And so when you go ketogenic, your body, you take out your carbohydrates, you restrict them down. Obviously you can't take it all out because there's little bits of carbohydrates all over the place, and then you predominantly eat more fat. And what happens is your body starves itself until a point that it starts forcing you to break down these fats into three different ketone bodies.
Sounds intense.
And yeah, bro. And these fats that break down, and each one of the ketones can go. They supply different parts of your body, like your brain, your muscles, or things like that, or some of it gets excreted at your urine.
Yeah.
So, that's why you get like people who are excessive ketones will be pissing out heaps of, or they get the pee strips, and if they're in ketosis.
Yeah.
That's a certain type, and you got one that you breathe out, so your breath can go for excess ketones. And but yeah, you feel amazing. Your brain is just like sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
Sharp as, man. Like I felt like I was on coffee 24/7. And then you lie down and you go to sleep, and then you're out, and you wake back up, and then you're just like bloody like fizzing again, But I was doing CrossFit, and I couldn't do my CrossFit workouts because I didn't have enough carbohydrate source to fuel my anaerobic system.
Long-lasting workouts.
Yeah, or just the
high intensity.
Yeah. High intensity, man. Because if no one in your ketogenic diet, what happens is you have a glycogen dump at the start, so you've got stored glucose in your muscles. And what happens is you dump out because your body goes through a starving phase, and so it starts trying to use all the stored stuff as well before you switch over. And so within that glycogen dump, you get a lot of water wastage. So that's why you lose a lot of weight really quick on a ketogenic diet, because you're losing water as well as fat. But yeah, well, I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, your glycogen, it's your stored carbohydrate. So your glycogen's your first call of, so if you're going to go do CrossFit or a high intensity workout where you're demanding 100% of yourself, you need your body goes for your glycogen first. It's the easiest thing to rip in, and then your body will balance out and start kicking into your anaerobic systems, and then it'll go into your aerobic system. And if you go too hard, you'll drop back into your anaerobic. But what happens is the ATP, your energy that you get from your glycogen, is more intense than just have your normal glucose.
Yeah.
That runs through your body. So that's more higher energy output. So your body goes to go for that when you're doing your high intensity exercise, if you're, and so, and if it's not there, then you're like, then you face plant,
Yeah.
But,
so keto is good for quick, I don't know, from my, my opinion on it is good for quick, fast weight loss, but I don't know about long term. I'm not sure about long term effects.
It's all about adherence, man.
Yes,
it's all like if you can adhere. Like our bodies adapt, man. Like people in South America will be different. Like 1,000 years ago, we'll be eating different to people in Japan.
Yeah,
And they've got completely different diets. And then you got the Inuits who are eating bloody just seals, you know, like, and then you've got, you know, like on that cove. Remember that crazy doco where those people like haul all the dolphins in and they kill those dolphins?
Yeah.
Like that whole island lives off like dolphin meat.
Yeah.
You know, like, and shit like that. So like, there's a lot of like, I'm pretty sure, hopefully I got that right. I am calling on I have all these bloody vegans feeding me up. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But that's what I watched it a long time ago, but I watched like the counter arguments of what they did, but I'm not saying that it's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, everyone all, so your body adapts, man. I reckon your body adapts to, we should be more worried about the shit that's like, you know, we've made in the past 50 years, man. Yeah. Like, you know, like they've got like glyphosate, bloody resistant, you know, like corn and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, like, and for anyone that's just Roundup, man. Roundup that's sprayed directly over, they've got GMO kind of corn and crops that are resistant to it, and they just spray over the top and it kills them, you know? So your pet, like, that's probably more of a thing of what we're actually spraying on our food, you know, rather than what types of food we're eating, you know? Eat the rainbow, but it's covered in shit, you know? It's covered in stuff that's made, man, in a lab, you know?
Perfect size capsicums and perfect shaped.
Yeah, bro, like
vegetables.
And that's it, man. Like a lot of the fruit that has to leave the country for export has to be sprayed to shit, you know, like has to be, because they don't want any pests in their country.
Yeah.
So you have to control all these pests, and most of the time, like, you know, most of it's local produce. You don't have to do that. It's in New Zealand. It's whatever, you know, you can send it off. They'll pack it, they'll do whatever, send it around New Zealand, and so that they will most likely, or the majority of the time, if they're not a mix of export and local, they will have a lot more sprays applied, you know, to the food, you know, if it's going offshore. Yeah. So that's more of, I think, more of a concern than what types of food, eh? Yeah. But getting back to carnivore allows me to be more metabolically flexible, you know. Yeah. I probably go into little bits of ketosis of not having enough carbs, because I only eat like a little bit of fruit around or honey around my workouts to bring my glucose levels up, and then afterwards to replenish my glycogen levels. And then other than that, my excessive amounts of protein can just be balanced out by if there's too much protein and my body needs carbohydrates, my body just breaks down the meat as through gluconeogenesis, and it just breaks it down to carbs, which takes like 30% of the calories. It takes 30% of the amount of calories to break it down into that carbohydrate, you know?
So you've done a lot of research behind behind that diet. That's great. Yeah. That's great, because that's, you know, it's a diet that you're offering through Ora, and that's so you pretty much got balanced over here and meat based over there. Yeah, bro.
And that's it. Like we've got again, and it's like it's what suits me. Yeah. And plus also on that, like, you know, if it's what someone could adhere to the most. And also, and sorry, I forgot to explain, like, metabolically flexible. Like, if I was ketogenic, and like I was monitoring, I was probably like a year ago, I went back into using a keto diet, and I felt really good again. And then I was, you know, doing my blood tests every day to make sure I was in ketosis. Yeah. And then on like Saturday, I might go out for a cheat meal. So I'd go like to Luke's down the road and have like a fish wrap and a craft beer. Yeah. And then no shit, I would go out of ketosis, which means my body has to restart itself back into ketosis, or for like, I don't know, till like Tuesday.
A couple of days.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So for me, and I know everyone's individual, people can pop back in depending how active you are. You can pop back into that, you know, pretty easy again if that's who you are. But man, I find it hard as to lose body fat, bro. Yeah. it's my native genes, mate. my bloody kaikoi genes.
Yeah. Gotta save that fat.
Yeah, bro. But it's interesting. It's all moving forward, man.
Yep.
And But yeah, Dove will be interesting, man. He's leading the charge. Quite interesting about anxiety, you know, and I've been through a heap of shit with it, you know, and it kind of I don't know. It's hard to explain today. It's hard to talk about today. Because like, you know, when it happens to you, you don't know what's going on. You don't know. And I'll tell you, I got to the stage where I couldn't drive down the road. I couldn't close a gate or anything. Like, I was just too freaked out that the repercussions of something might happen. Like, that's the point where I got. And or you know, and like before that happened, like, I could run construction sites, I could do whatever, I could run, you know. And so when you get down to that point, you understand when people get taken over by that anxiety, stress response, you know, it's kind of like you get to the bottom, and especially I suppose as a woman too, but as a man, you feel like you've got fucking you've just got no respect for yourself, you know, anymore. You know, and you can't show up to do things because you don't, you know, because you can't show up, and you feel like you're a little kid again, a little kid that needs to be babied, you know, which is not like, you know, and it's hard, like, you know, and that's how, like, I even got to the point of fucking, you know, ending it, wanting to end it, you know, didn't try to do anything like that, and my poor wife I broke down to her one day and just turned it, you know, and I just remember down at the orchard, you know, and just crying, man. And I was just like, I didn't know what to do, you know, and I was just like, I'm just constantly in fear, like all the time, like, and you just think of you think they'll be better without me, you know, kind of thoughts.
So what was one of the biggest, you know, takeaways or tools that you learned to get from where you were then to where you are today? Because obviously you've come a long way, and you've been through that trough. Yeah, bro. So yeah, what would be one of the biggest things? Do you do anything like on the daily, or because I personally I've got like a holistic view around exercise. You know, like how my body is connected to my mind, which, you know, if I move my body, my mind's going to be in a better state. And is there anything that you do on the daily, or is there tools that you learn? Obviously, number one was talking.
Oh, massive, bro, massive. You need to, because when you're in your own head, you're in your own head. You know, and you just spiral, man. And so getting out there, talk to people close to you, firstly, like your partner or your best mates, like just go do it. You might think that you're a crazy bastard, but you just go do it, and you'll be surprised how many other people have actually gone through it. And talk to them, then go get like professional help if you can. Or not if you can, go do it. There's plenty of services now that you can call up, and you know, Dove helped me. I ended up with him. But like a year after, man, like a year after going to psychologists, which got me out of the real bad dump and got me back to like being okay. I can actually do day-to-day sort of stuff, but still had fear of like driving long distance, still had fear of all this stuff. And that's where like Dove for me, kind of flipped everything on its head, and is, he's kind of like, you know, you get to a point where you're stressed. Like everyone gets to a point, no matter if it's anxiety, no matter if it's anything, you get to a point where you're forced to change. And he's like, that's what it kind of is in your head. Like, you know, there's stress coming at you, and you're not doing anything about it to move out of the way or redirect yourself. And so you end up getting stressed, and then, you know, and like it's screaming at you. It's a little bit, you get a little bit, because I remember that getting a little bits of it, like at the supermarket, and I'll be like, holy shit, like what the fuck's going on? Like, and I was just like, I just want to get out. I need to get out of here. I need to act normal. Bro. And I need to get out of here. And then I got back into my car. I'm like, okay, now I'm good. And then I didn't listen, and it got worse, and it got worse, and worse. And then, you know, and so he helped me, and he'll talk more about what his philosophies are. Don't really want to speak too much for him. Yeah, true. But
true. Any breathing techniques or anything? Like
no, I did try breathing techniques when I was with a psychologist. And he was real good for me, man. Like I said, he got me out of the danger zone, man.
Yeah.
He got, but and I know heaps of people who have gone to psychologists and completely got all their problems solved. So I'm not bagging psychologists at all. It didn't get me the 100% way for me.
Yeah.
But we did use breathing techniques, and yeah, it was, but it kind of, for me, like it does, and it does help other people. I know that.
Yeah.
But for me, it kind of, it made me focus that I've got a problem.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It kept bringing me back to focusing on it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And like, when is it going to go away?
Yeah. So, quick tip from me, from my experience, as soon as I start feeling like, I felt the same feelings in the past, and that build up of anxiety, you can feel it coming, and
yeah, bro.
Yep. Like, your heart starts racing and your palms start getting a little bit sweaty, and
yeah, bro. yeah.
So I'm sure, like, there's lots of people out there that go through this, but for me, something that works is just breathe in for 3 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and then breathe out for 5 seconds. Right. And just do that. It's a real, something short and sharp, and you do that a couple of times, and you just honestly, because you're controlling your heart rate, and you start lowering your heart rate, and you start to feel like okay again. But that's just a quick tip that's worked for me in the past.
Yeah, bro, because it's a physical. Because your breathing is connected to, like, your physiology, and that's how they bring you down,
Yeah. So
and that, that's what all the special forces do, kind of thing. The little tricks they use, they go into, that's, I remember one of the military dudes was like, this is a, I don't know if he was that, but he was from the normal regiment, and kind of was just like, this is what this is taught, and I was like, oh shit.
So you can go through the lie detector test, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, but no, it's but exercise too, man. Like, I was eating and I probably, like, linking it all back together. Like, I've listened to a bit of cool stuff from a lady called Kelly Brogan over in the States.
Yeah,
she's a psychiatrist, but doesn't prescribe any drugs or do anything. She reckons, it's quite out there. I'm not, and I'm not saying anything for her, but she thinks it's all 100%, 90% bloody dietary.
Yeah,
she won't see anyone until they're eating a clean diet of what she's telling them to eat. I think it's like red meat and vegetables, and that's all they're allowed to eat for a month. And then if they're not better, then they get to have an appointment with her. And then
so try this first.
And no shit. Well, that's what she says on the. I listened to her on a podcast, and she was like, this is how I do it. But when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Like, back then, for me, it made sense. I was eating pretty shit. I came down to do farm life,
Yeah.
And so I was drinking bloody Spates, a lot of Spates, a lot of Spates, bro.
Yeah.
I was eating whatever I wanted. I would wake up in the morning, I'd have toast and eggs and whatever I wanted on top of that with that. Then I'd go out to the cafe at lunchtime because that was my out time to get off the farm. And then I'd eat whatever I wanted. It might be a croissant with bacon and, real shit diet that I was eating, a scone. And then come home, and then I'll do the same. I'll just eat whatever's easy,
Yeah.
So it was kind of, for me, it was, I could understand that, what she's kind of saying, I could understand. I probably abused my body every single day
through food,
with food, and then the stress, mental stress on top of shit that just like and like and it's interesting because ever since then I've kind of like analyzed like successful people, like people that have like done real massive hours, got and made a successful business and worked their ass off, and because it's a similar thing, bro. Like, when you start going through this, man, if it happens to you, you're searching anywhere. You're like audible books on anxiety. You're listening to every goddamn book in the bloody book, bro.
Yeah.
And bloody Audible, I was just clicking them up, reading through it, and a lot of them, like, it can happen as well. There was a lot of like professional dudes who are worked their ass off through their 20s and were just cranking, sleeping 4 hours a night every day, cranking, and then finally, boom.
Yeah.
And then they were just like, whoa, like, I can't even go outside. I can't do it. And they'll just lock themselves in their big mansions and like or buy a plate. This one dude bought a place in the middle of Australia, bro, like in the middle of the desert, and built
Isolated.
this big gangs. Yeah, bro, had this big mansion in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then after like a year, he's like, man, I got to get out and I got to do something about it. So it does like affect people, and obviously in different ways, you know. And it's obviously more so it's about listening to your body and listening to what my biggest lesson I got out of the whole thing was being you.
Yeah.
Like what put me under so much stress in my head is I was trying to be a different person for other people, you know. And when I wasn't getting the gratification that I thought I would get from being that person, it was like eating me away, really.
Yeah.
And so after a while, that ended up being my stress. All I knew beforehand was stress was like work stress, like, oh, I've got to do a 16-hour day. That's what I thought stress was.
Yeah.
Or, the missus pissed me off, you know, or like, the boys at work have been dickheads, you know, like or, you know, that's what I thought. Or like, I didn't even see that as stress. I just thought, you know, like it was work stress. That's what I literally thought, or was only stress.
Yeah.
And then for that to build up on me, you know, and but that's what I took out of it. I took out, it's just be yourself, man. Be yourself. What else? That's the best thing you can be. If you can just be yourself, you're only accountable to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be someone for someone else.
No pressure.
No pressure. And if you're doing what you want and doing what you love, you know, there's always give and takes. You can't always do exactly what you want all the time.
Yeah.
But, you know, as long as you're being yourself, that's the massive thing. Even from saying your stupid crude jokes in front of people, or saying, you know, be you, be a dickhead.
Yeah.
Be, you know, because that's what people want. And people actually gravitate towards that, man. I remember being in the gym setting and they were like, you'd get heaps of characters, bro. Heaps of weird little characters, man. And like, other people will be like, oh, he's weird. I'm like, yeah, he's weird, but he's actually quite a cool dude.
He's a character. He's a character.
Yeah, he's a character, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's better him being that than trying to be a fake person, you know? Yeah.
So for myself, like what I've sort of got from all that conversation was that, you know, your diet and your exercise and your habits, your routine is all connected to your health and to your mind.
Yeah.
And
massively.
So yeah, for myself, I'm the same. I just try and keep it nice and easy, structured, you know, routine that works for me. So for the exercises and that, I guess, you know, in the past I've had like thoughts in that, I'm going to try and accomplish this level of fitness or this level of, you know, and I've set my bar like to the, like, you know, CrossFit CrossFit games, you know what I mean? and this is not attainable, you know. But more recently, I've just sort of been like,
just Dyls got his fake trophy and his undies, like standing on the bed.
More recently, I just want to live a healthy lifestyle that's going to be long term, and that's what I think is great about, you know, the things that we're offering in Ora is that balance, is the nutrition balance, is the exercise, the different varieties of exercises that we can do, you know, the body weight, the gym workouts, you know, and then you've got the rehab section, all that sort of stuff. It's a whole package. Bro. And even, what you've been talking about is like the mental. And so it's all connected for me, and
but that's it, bro. Like, and especially like, you know, talking about mental stuff, it's kind of like if you're in this kind of thing of yo-yo dieting, you know, like stop and change, man. Like stop, like address it. Like it's got to be, I don't know, like you know, because you've got to change your variable. You know, you can either, and that's what I like. You know, we've talked about it before. Like, you know, a few of the boys love more full-figured women. You know, maybe you, I don't know. Maybe you should start be more bloody loving towards your body, you know? Like there's you know what my slogan was going to be before I made Ora?
What's that?
For big booty, what is that? For big booty hoes, bros, and average Joes.
And you loved it too, eh? You were like, I'm so done with this. Till someone
Because
said, nah, you can't. You can't, Ken. Yeah.
And people don't like being called hoes, so that's probably not a good one.
Yeah.
But you know, like everyone, and like, you know, I know skinny little fellas that love full-figured women, and I know skinny girls that love full-figured men, like big, you know, big shout out to Big Tom. You know, he's got a little bit of he's got a little keg on him, but you know, his missus is a little petite thing, and you know, and but you know, everyone's got their own flavor, you know, of what they want. And I'm not saying if you're dieting and be happy with what you got. Stop focusing on weight, man. Like that's the biggest thing, because that's what's throwing you off, you know. It's not unattainable to be what you want to be, but just be clear firstly on what you want to be and how it works into your lifestyle. Like you said, I'm gonna be a CrossFit champion, but you got to help, you know, popping out kids left, right, and centre, Dyls. You know. But you know, that's all right, and you've just changed it around to this be. You know, I'm gonna change my goals around to fit around the family and fit around this. You know. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, you can either be clear firstly on, like, step back, be clear about where you want to be. Do you really want to be that tiny little petite chick, or that shredded ass jacked up dude who walks around at the beach? You know, like my big flip around with that, was I was at a concert with Mike, you know, with all the supervised training clients. And they're like, the girls like, get out there, Cam, get out there, mate, take your tops off, because we were worked out like machines. We were like so shredded, and they were like, get out there, take your top off. And I was like, oh, I'm not that kind of guy, eh? And they're like, oh, so why do you work out so much? And I was like, I don't know, it's a good fucking point. Why do I work out so much to have this insane body that no one sees, you know? And I was just, and that's what turned me.
That's why, because you know.
Yeah. But the amount of work it took me to have that, it was not worth it didn't do nothing for me. And so all I did was change my goalpost. I'm like, I can be fit, I can be healthy, and I just want to feel good. You know, I don't mind if I'm carrying a little thin layer. You know. I don't want to get too over the top, but I'm happy not having a six pack, you know. And that's where other people have got to set their realistic goals and outline where they want to be, you know. And stop focusing on weight, because your weight will change all the time. Like I had lost a percentage of fat. I weighed myself before at the start of the challenge. I was working out, doing all the workouts. For all the instructed workouts, and I was besides the bodyweight ones which you do, and I was weighing like 90 kilos, and then I was like, I leaned up around the waist massively, and I weighed myself like a week ago, and I'm 95 kilos.
Oh wow!
Bro.
And you're training every day.
I'm doing like a minimum of probably like 10 workouts a week. You know, so my body fat's gone down, but I've gone up. You know, it's must. It's got to be must. It's got to be must, bro.
It's Jake.
Oh, it's all the speed work, Speed work. And but you know, your weight is nothing, and people get caught up on it, and they keep going over and over and over on it, and I've just bloody worked my ass off this week, and I've just, I worked my ass off and I've only lost 300 grams or 400 grams. Oh, this is, I'm not doing this shit anymore. And so, and then they give up, and then they go back, and then they go forward. And the best thing is just focus on working out. That's the biggest thing. Stop focusing on the weight. Eat relatively well. Give yourself some flexibility if you want to. If you're someone that does struggle yo-yoing, give yourself some flexibility to have some off meals. And have that bloody glass of Chardonnay or that burger out, you know? Give yourself that flexibility.
You want to enjoy the journey just as much as the, as the outcome.
Yeah, bro. And when you get to the outcome, like, what is the outcome?
Yeah.
What is the outcome that you actually really want?
And what's the payoff? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Are you gonna, and like that's what, like, especially doing all this order stuff. Like, I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. But I'm working on Saturdays, and I'm like, I need to get more organized to get this work in throughout the week. I gotta give my wife and my son, their energy for the weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly. You think I've got one set regime? I literally change my work schedule around every week, and I've got this big whiteboard, and everything gets changed around each week, so I can have more time off on the weekend with my family.
Yeah. And I've seen you've posted Sundays is the day for you to schedule your week, and that helps you keep on track.
Yeah, bro. So usually Sunday, have a workout because I want to have a cheap meal and go out with the wife for lunch and my son. So I'll have a workout, and then I will set my goals after that
for the week. So ahead,
for the week, and I'll just write it out basic as on my iPhone notes.
Yeah.
Or I now do, because I've got so much to do. I have a whiteboard, but previously I would just do it on my notes on my Apple phone.
Yeah.
And I just write Monday, workout lunchtime. Tuesday, workout lunchtime. Run after work. Yeah. And that's what I'll do. And just, I know, because you learn from what happens. If I get home, I've got, it's my kind of duty to try help relieve my wife from my son,
Yeah.
And so I can't be like, okay, babe, hold up. I'm just going to go out to the gym for an hour, Yeah, you've got them all day, I've got them all day, 7 days a week, And so I'll just, so I kind of fit it in. I've got my little hill run straight across the road from my, from work.
Yep.
Hop straight out. That takes me 20 minutes. If I sprint up to the top, and I run even faster down, obviously, and and then and I'm home. That's my 20-minute cardio,
Yep.
And it's done. And I've got no excuse. Just throw the gear in the back of the car. But yeah, plan on Sundays, man, and you'll be set up for the week. And what you fail in, you just go back and you just change it.
Yeah. Yep.
You assess like, shit, that was too much. I couldn't fit that in. Or maybe I should drop off on cardio. Maybe I should drop off a workout. Or how can I fit that in? Maybe I could slip it in Saturday morning, Yeah.
Because everyone's life and schedule and all that sort of stuff is all different, So
yeah, bro.
Got to do what works for you.
Yeah, man. Exactly. So like, but we got old Dirty Harrison, next week, mate.
Yep. That should be interesting. I'm sure he'll be have lots of knowledge and lots of things for us to learn,
He's a freak, man.
Yeah.
He's the man. Like, he's the bee's knees when it comes, especially exercise science and exercise prescription. He was the guru that taught me everything, man.
Yeah.
He taught, like, that's why the Kami story, man. We're talking about.
Yeah.
He taught me how to be like this hard out professional bloody PT, like you were because he trained only like, by the end when I got to him, he only trained like top end
a certain clients.
Yeah. And so I think it was like $150 a client, and some of them they would bring two people, and he'd be like, no, I'm not doing the discount. It's just $150 a client, And so that would be like I'm sitting here, I'm like, bro, I'm a uni student, and I was like, $300, that's like my whole week's pay, and he's doing it in like an hour.
Yeah.
But he taught me all this stuff about professionalism.
Yeah.
And so the Kami story was it got a bit it was a big joke when I was working with Mike, and I was stretching someone out, and I actually, when you're leaning on someone, like it's up, when you're lying on the back and their foot's up on your, you can like kind of lean on it lean on their foot, and kind of just, especially if you're tired and you've done a whole day's work, and you're just like, lean on it, stretch, cool, and then the other side, And this one time, I obviously leaned too far, and my bloody pelvis was on the leg, and I didn't realise. And so my little wee fella would have made connection with the calf, and and so the girl, she thought it was hilarious and told all the other girls, and then everyone used to always take the piss out of me, and can you hear me? And I didn't know for 9 months until we got on the piss. and they all making fun of me and dropped the bomb. But I was so embarrassed, man, because Jay taught me how to be so professional, right?
Yeah.
And I thought I had this high standard for myself, and I always dressed immaculate, always did everything right. And then that happened, and I was like, oh, God. Sickening. It made me sick. Yeah. Oh, shit, man. But nah, bro, we'll wrap that up there, brother.
Cool, man. Cool.
Bit of Dilla Sutra pumping this week. If you want to know what Dilla Sutra's moves are, if you want to know the 6 bombs move, jump on our Ora Fitness site. We've got free workouts up there at the moment, and you can even give Dillsies one free week trial. You can give them all actually a free week trial. Jump on our training thing, and you can sign up 7 days for free. And then, you can cancel it if you don't want it, or you can jump back on and carry on or join whatever you want. But, yeah, nice to have everyone on. It's Ora, mate. We're inclusive. We want everyone a part of it.
Yeah, man.
All good, Dillsy. Anything else, brother?
That's all from us in. Yep.
Cheer.
Cheer to the cheer.
Awesome, guys. Cool. We'll catch you next week with old Flyas Māori from bloody Kaikoui, the capital of New Zealand. All right, brother. We'll catch ya.
We'll
see you guys.
Later, man.